And that's never a good sign, right? Like any market, when you start to see speculative investing, you have to get worried. Now, I actually think it's a good thing for students, because what's going to happen is there's going to be a correction, right? So right now, Uber is valued at roughly $45 billion, right? The only company that has a higher valuation is the Chinese Apple handset, Apple-like manufacturer called Xiaomi that just raised a $46 or $47 billion valuation, right? Why does that matter? It matters because what's going to happen is when the bubble pops, and it will, and it's just a matter, it's not if, it's when, right? It's going to be a lot more capital available to smaller, more focused teams, right? This is what happens. It's kind of like the forest burns and there's regeneration, right? And regeneration is always good for younger, less mature teams. So I think that we're going to see this trend play out in the next 12 to 18 months. The fact that there are more than 2.5 times the number of billion-dollar startups than there was in the dot-com bubble should tell you something, okay? Because that did not end well. That was a 3-year just debacle.
And by the way, does anybody remember when NASDAQ hit its last peak? It's been in the news a lot.
Yeah.
Last time the bubble was 12 years ago.
It was 2000.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'll never forget, it was my son's birthday. It was March 10th.
Oh, I remember it very well.
I remember very clearly.
Absolutely.
And March 10th, 2015 is coming up.
Yeah.
On Tuesday. I think this one just went over 5,000.
Yeah, it hit 5,000 last week. Yeah.
It was kind of hovering around there. So I think the peak was around 5,100.
Yeah. So it's very interesting. So I don't know how many of you pay attention.
It took 15 years.
Yeah, right.
To recover from that last bust.
15 years. That's a long.
Should we sell this stock?
What's that?
Should we sell this stock now?
No. I mean, remember, we're talking about private companies, right? So you couldn't own a share in Uber if you wanted to right now, right? We don't have access to that kind of investment, right? I'm not talking about public valuation. I'm talking about private company, technology companies. That's where the valuations are off the hook, right?
Well, many of these companies would have gone public.
Yeah, right.
In the open.
Yeah.
What's happened is there's now dark pools of money, private money, that because these companies don't want to go public. They don't want to go undergo the scrutiny of Sarbanes-Oxley. And so in some ways I think that's even more dangerous.
Right.
Because these valuations are being done by very few people.
Very illiquid investments.
Very illiquid investments.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to, so let me ask you, so we're going to have a Q&A with Vinit. How many of you are going to pitch? Now, cool. Now let me say something. A couple of you came up to me on the break and said, Professor Mike, I'd love to talk to you about an idea. I said, well, tonight's the night you can tell all of us about it. And they said, maybe not. So listen, life starts outside of your comfort zone. This is a friendly, supportive environment. You're going to get great advice from experts. I'm going to ask you to think again. This is the perfect chance to pitch your idea and get some great advice, okay? The longer you delay it, it gets more painful a year from now. You're going to say, maybe next year I'll do it. No, do it tonight, okay? Yeah, please.
Oh, and also, I mean, there's twofold, right? Every person you tell is one person that brings it closer to reality.
Yeah.
But also another person maybe bring you closer to reality and check and say, hey, this might not be something you want to dedicate your next year to.
Yeah, so I'm going to encourage you to go big tonight, okay? Just going to take a couple of minutes, but remember, as Vinit said, it's a narrative, it's a story. Tell us the story about the idea. Why should we care about the idea? All right? How many people are going to pitch? Awesome! Look at that. We got about 7 or 8. That's cool. All right. So we're gonna have a couple of minute Q&A, and then we're gonna have you guys come up and pitch. And when we're all done, for those of you who want to, I will talk about Startup Next very quickly, and I'll talk very briefly about the Open IDEO project. But I'm going to do a meetup tomorrow night at 8 o'clock on that. Okay? So what questions do we have for Vinit? What questions do we have in the room? Yeah, they may be questions. All right, no questions. Should we just move on to the pitches? Yeah, please.
We are all international students.
Yeah, please. Maybe get you a mic, okay? Can we get you a mic?
Or you
Yeah, get him a mic also. Thank you. And it's Paul, right? Is it Paul?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.